lot of things I want to get off my chest. Vince, I'll push you all I want. Vince, I'll kick you in the nuts and you'll smile at me and like it and show me some respect. Because if you don't, you say goodbye to CM Punk. August 20th, 2021, I'm back.
There are few things in professional wrestling that grab my attention, keep me watching intently, leave a lasting impression, and make me want to watch it all over again. CM Punk's return to pro wrestling after taking a 7-year hiatus did just that. I think I've gone back and watched the opening segment to AEW Rampage The First Dance about 30 times, and that's not even an exaggeration. From the moment the show started to seeing CM Punk for the first time on my TV in years, to his promo, to the speculation of what's next. This is probably the best way that you could bring CM Punk back to professional wrestling. From the start, CM Punk was never announced for AEW. AEW literally announced that they would be in Chicago at the United Center for AEW's second ever Rampage show called AEW Rampage The First Dance. They then went on and had Darby Allin mention CM Punk without really mentioning him. He said many men had laid claim to being the greatest, and there's only one place to prove that, and that's in AEW, even if you think you're the best in the world. After this, there was no doubt that CM Punk was coming to AEW at this show. But would he really? That was intriguing. Even though it seemed set in stone that CM Punk would make his debut, he had gone on many occasions saying that he was distancing himself from pro wrestling and the one thing that he used to love. At this point, it was either CM Punk was going to debut at AEW Rampage in Chicago, or he was never coming back to wrestling ever again. There was no in between. He was at a crossroads, really. Does he leave behind and move on? Or does he really have the love for professional wrestling as much as he says he does? And can he change the landscape of the entire wrestling world? He decided on the latter. CM Punk changed the landscape in the WWE on June 27, 2011 when he cut the infamous pipe bomb promo where he'd point out the many flaws within the company, and he almost shattered that on AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage opens, and they run down the show with some of the matches happening tonight. But none of that really matters. It didn't matter if the rest of the show was good or not, because everyone is here for CM Punk. From the moment television went live, the crowd was red hot. They immediately started chanting CM Punk over and over and over. Chicago is his town, and he is beloved by his people. AEW could have saved the big surprise for the end of the show and even hyped it up all night, but they knew what everybody wanted to see. I did fear that if it wasn't the first thing out of the gate, the fans would be chanting CM Punk over the matches on this show, so they put it on first. So they let CM Punk chants go crazy and let the anticipation build and build and build, and then we hear static, followed by the Cult of Personality, CM Punk's theme song. Even at this point, I still wasn't sure. Was CM Punk really going to come out? They could have gone with a million different paths to get CM Punk coming out, such as having MJF play with his emotions of the fans and whatever, but they didn't. They had his music hit, and he came out, and the crowd absolutely lost their minds. On this night, in this building, with CM Punk returning to pro wrestling and debuting in AEW, there isn't going to be a louder pop. The only thing that I compare to this was Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out to help Mick Foley win the WWF Championship, or him coming out to save the WWF from the Alliance on Raw. When he came out to the ring, you could tell that he was happy. He took his time getting down the ramp and just let the moment sink in. You could tell that he was reassured that he in fact made the right choice by coming to AEW. Fans were going crazy. People were crying, CM Punk is back! You saw a fan with a sign that said, if CM Punk is here, we riot, and then went over to show him the respect. He then turned to the other side of the entrance ramp, ran over, and jumped into the crowd. They actually caught him. After all the mayhem, he finally made his way down to the ring, makes his way over to his family, who you might remember if you saw the CM Punk documentary in the WWE. He hugs them, and then gets in the ring with a live microphone. From here, they could go any way with this. However, they choose what was probably the best option, and that's to let CM Punk speak from his heart. With an open mic and no script, CM Punk delivers one of the best promos of his entire life. He starts off by saying, "You guys really know how to make a kid feel like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh." What a line. This wasn't something that someone else told him to say. He gave Britt Baker his stamp of approval because he loves her and thinks she's an amazing wrestler. This man is a damn genius. He continues, "I'm winging it. I knew I needed to feel it. I feel you, Chicago, and I hear you, Chicago." And that's what I've heard for 7 years. I've heard you. He continues by saying, "I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is we're not going to get to all of it right now, right here. But the good news is I've got time. Wednesday, Friday, 4 Sundays or Saturdays a year. I've got the time and I ain't going anywhere." That means CM Punk is full-time in AEW. The most important thing I'm going to say right now is right here. If, at all through my journey, any of my personal choices or decisions related to my life made you feel disappointed or let down, let me just say, I understand. If you all try to understand that I was never going to get healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally, staying in the same place that got me sick in the first place. Can I tell you a story? The crowd goes crazy. I said, can I tell you a story? The crowd goes crazy. It's hot in here. Hang on 1 second. Punk would then remove his sweatshirt, revealing a white CM Punk shirt underneath, and he sits down cross-legged in the ring, pipe bomb style. I felt before like I had to leave. August 13, 2005 was my last match at Ring of Honor, and I famously came out with tears in my eyes, and walking out here today, I know I was crying. I had made a place where people could go get work, get paid, learn their craft, and love professional wrestling. And I knew I was leaving a place that I loved, and it was a home, and I knew going wasn't going to be easy for a guy like me. Because I'm one of you. So I look at it like this. August 13th, 2005, I left professional wrestling. And at this point, he stands back up in the ring. August 20th, 2021, I'm back. And I'm back for you. And I'm not going to lie, I'm back for me too. And I'm back because there's a hell of a lot of young talent that I wish I was surrounded by 10 years ago. I'm back because I want to work with that young talent that had the same passion that I had stamped out. I'm back because a couple of scores to settle in that locker room. I'm back for the young guys. They then showed Darby Allin and Sting in the rafters. Darby Allin, I see you. You're good. You jump out of airplanes. You get wrapped up in a body bag and chucked over the top rope. I've seen you kick down a flight of stairs and you always come back. Just like each and every person here in Chicago, you're tough. But I'm here to help, and you're first on my list. I'm going to help you because you're a daredevil and you like danger. Well, Darby, there's nothing that you can do that is more dangerous than wrestling CM Punk. Except wrestling CM Punk in Chicago, and I will see you and I will see Sting September 5th at All Out live on pay-per-view. I'm back! Oh, and one more thing. 7 years is an awful long time to wait for somebody. I appreciate everybody here who has waited. So on your way out of United Center, grab yourself a free ice cream bar on me. What a promo. Before he even begins, he puts over other talent. He then goes on to apologize for being gone for so long and says he needed to get a break, otherwise he would never have gotten healthy. He then ends it off by setting up his first match against Darby Allin at AEW All Out on September 5th. If you ever had to create a formula or create a masterclass on how to cut an in-ring promo, you should follow this to a T. Punk not only answered questions that everybody wanted to know, but he built up everyone around him. He gave Britt Baker credibility. He made Darby Allin and Sting seem important because he handpicked Darby Allin as his first opponent. And he said that AEW is full of so many great wrestlers that he wants to get in the ring with. CM Punk is a true professional and really does move the needle. Not only that, but he makes you care. He knows his strength and he can articulate them tenfold. This was about as perfect as you can get in pro wrestling. For the first time in a long time watching professional wrestling, I got extreme joy. I can't believe AEW told us the best in the world was coming to AEW at the United Center, and he actually showed up. No swerve, no BS, just CM Punk. Even though everybody knew he was coming, it was still an amazing feeling. Sometimes it's just best to give the people what they want.